Welcome to our Magentis Genie Lunch and Learn. Thank you all for joining us. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we stand. Here in Brisbane, this is the Turrbal and Yagara people. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. I'm Christopher Lynch, Installation and Training Consultant at Magentis Practice Management. This session will help you set up and maintain your Genie software to help minimize the risk of security breaches and controllable incidents. The topics for today will include how to manage Genie security and data integrity. We'll look at the difference between a client and a server environment, when to upgrade Genie, when to contact Magentis or your IT technician, the advantages of cloud hosting. At the end of today's session, we will have a live Q&A. Please use the Q&A box down at the bottom of the screen throughout the session to ask your questions. We'll start with managing security in Genie. Data security begins before you even open Genie. We recommend that all devices used to access patient data should be secured with a unique password. Your PC or Mac should be set up with password-protected user accounts, which is usually managed by your IT technician. Other secure login methods include biometric options. However, this is all dependent on your hardware, and for this you will need to contact your IT. Passwords that are set should be unique and secure, otherwise your data may be vulnerable. To add an extra layer of security, the practice should have a policy that requires all staff to set a different password to access Genie. Staff can also be set up in Genie to have specific access rights to different areas of patient data. According to the Australian Medical Board, practices should not be sending unsecured emails with patient data, as emails are not encrypted and may be intercepted or accessed by hackers. Practices should be sending doctors' correspondence via a secure platform, such as Medical Objects, HealthLink, and/or ReferralNet. Which one of these services the practice registers with will be dependent on your network of doctors and what they use. So it's good to ask around and check the referral letters that the practice receives. Password security can be undermined if users share their passwords, especially when staff members have different access rights within Genie. Passwords should not be recorded where they can be easily accessed, for example, written on sticky notes and then stuck on the computer monitor. Passwords should not be reused to access different programs and/or websites. You should use a unique password for every application or website. In particular, you should not use the same passwords at home and at work. Complex passwords should be used with a mixture of lowercase, uppercase, number, and symbols. For example, smelly cat, spelt with a $, lowercase m, the number 3, LLYCAT. The longer the password, the more secure it is. You should regularly check to see if your password has been exposed in previous data breaches. This can be checked online via websites like ihavebeenpwned.com. Now we'll run through the steps on how to set up user passwords in Genie. When you first open Genie, you are presented with a user list. To select, click once on your username. Then in the top right-hand corner, click on the Set Password button. Click on the old password field, and if you don't have one, leave this field blank. Otherwise, enter your old password to change it. Then click on the new password field to enter in your unique and secure password. You'll need to confirm your password by entering it into the next field. Then click the OK button to save. To log in, click on your username, then enter in your password down below and click on OK. Depending on how big your practice is, you may want to limit access to certain areas of Genie based on people's roles and responsibilities. In Genie, we have a feature called Groups, where you can create user groups with different access rights. Go to File in the top left corner and then click on Groups. Click on the plus button found in the top left-hand corner to create a new group. For example, for a typist, enter in typist and then click on OK. In the middle of the screen, there are 3 tabs covering 3 specific areas within Genie. As a default, all options will be unticked. Go through and tick what you want, in this case, the typist, to have access to. Under the General tab, click on Send Tasks and Receive Tasks. Under the Financial tab, we can leave these unticked. And finally, under the Patient tab, we can tick on View Clinical Information. Once your user group has been configured, click on the plus found in the right to allocate users into this group by selecting their name and clicking on Select. To save the new group, click on the Save Group button found in the bottom right. The next topic we'll look at is data integrity. There are a few actions that can be taken to improve the integrity of your Genie data. Merging duplicate patient records, cleaning up duplicate address book entries, exiting the Genie program correctly, cleaning out old appointments, ensuring that your Genie database is backed up daily, and verifying your Genie data. Over time, the practice may end up having duplicate patient records within the Genie database. These patient records can be merged by going to the Open menu along the top, select Patients, or press Ctrl-O on a PC or Command-O on a Mac. Search for the patient in question. In this example, our patient's surname was spelt incorrectly, Dirk versus Dork. You can check some of the patient's initial details, such as name, date of birth, and mobile number via the search list. To double check, open the patient's demographics to confirm additional details, such as address and Medicare details. If the patient's name does not match, update the name so they match. This ensures that any attachments and files stored in the patient's clinical history are merged correctly. Once the patient's details match, press Ctrl or Command on your keyboard and then select the 2 records. To ensure the correct records are selected, go to Records and select Use Selected. Then go to the Patients menu and select Merge Patients. If the 2 patient records have a different account holder, Medicare card number, or address, Genie will prompt you to select which record you want to keep. Another area that may contain duplicate records is the address book. These doctor records can be merged by going to the Open menu along the top, select Address Book, or press Ctrl-B on the PC or Command-B on a Mac. Search for the doctor. Review and check each duplicate record. Be aware that there may be multiple records for practitioners with the same name at different locations due to their different provider numbers. If the doctor's name is incorrect, fix the name before merging the record. Once confirmed, press Ctrl or Command on your keyboard and then click to select the 2 records, and then click the Merge button along the top and confirm that you want to merge these records. Please note, this action cannot be undone. It is very common for Genie users to close out of Genie incorrectly. Instead of clicking on the red cross in the top right-hand corner of a PC or the red cross in the top left-hand corner on a Mac, we recommend that you close Genie via the File menu in the top left-hand corner and then select Quit. Followed by Quit to confirm. This ensures that the workstation is logged off from the Genie servers correctly. When you're the first to log out of Genie each day, you'll notice that Genie will prompt you with a clearing out old appointments window. This process is normally run to clear out old appointments which are based on the number of days that are set within appointment preferences. To access the appointment preferences, click on the piece of paper button found under the calendar in your appointment book. This process can be deferred for an extended period of time by selecting the option to 9999 and then click on Save. As you can see, when we go to File and Quit, Genie will now prompt us with, do you want to clear out your old appointments now? Click on Cancel or OK to confirm. If you have a large database, running this process may assist with condensing the database, which in turn will optimize the overall performance of Genie. Server backups are normally managed by your IT technician. This can take a number of forms, commonly offsite backups, USB flash drive, or hard drive backups. And these should occur daily. If you're unsure about your backup protocol, please consult your IT technician. The local workstation backup process that we are highlighting here is primarily completed prior to a fee schedule update. Therefore, you do not need to contact your IT every time you update your fees. To initiate the local workstation backup, go to the File menu in the top left and click on Maintenance and Reports. Then select Server Admin window in the bottom right. Following this, click on the Maintenance button along the top and then the Start Backup button down below. Once the backup has been initiated, Genie will show a progress bar in the lower left corner of the screen. And once completed, the date and time under the last backup information will update to reflect the recent backup. It is important to run a backup prior to running any upgrades or fee schedule updates, just in case there were any issues during that update process. If you happen to be updating your fee schedules and running your backup via Genie Solo on your Genie server, go to the File menu in the top left and click on Maintenance and Reports. Then select Maintenance and Security Center in the bottom right. Following this, click on the backup icon on the left and then the backup button in the lower right corner. Once the backup has been initiated, Genie will show a progress bar along the bottom. And once completed, the date and time under the last backup information will update to reflect the recent backup. One last step towards maintaining data integrity is to verify the Genie database. It is recommended that this data verification takes place outside practice hours when possible, as it may cause slowness across the network for other users. If possible, it is best to be run by your IT technician on the Genie server. However, this may be run via the Genie client, but may result in a longer verification process. Also, whilst this is running, this workstation should not be used. Within Genie, go to the File menu in the top left corner. Then select Maintenance and Reports. From here, click on the Maintenance and Security Center in the lower right. On the left, click the Verify button. Then click the large magnifying glass button to verify the records and the indexes. Please be aware that depending on the size of the database, this may take some time to run. When the verification has been completed, you'll see either ticks or crosses against the 3 verified areas. If any red crosses appear, click on the Open Log File button. This will open the XML file in your browser. To save, right-click anywhere on the page and choose Save As, or go to the File menu or the 3 dots and then select Save. Browse to a folder on your desktop to save, and then email this as an attachment to pmsupport@magentis.com. The next topic we'll look at is the Genie client versus the server environment. The local Genie client runs on workstations that connect to the Genie server via the network and are used on a daily basis to complete your day-to-day tasks. You can have as many workstations connected to the network as you like. However, accessibility will come down to how many licenses are registered at your practice. Your Genie client may be set up locally on the workstation or set up via an RDP, a remote desktop protocol, by your IT technician. Ad hoc backups can be run from the Genie client prior to certain tasks such as updating fee schedules. However, as stated before, for a more thorough backup, we recommend that you discuss this with your IT technician to have this set up and managed on your server. Fee schedules can be updated via the Genie client. However, it may be faster if this is run on the server. Lower hardware specifications are required for a workstation compared to that of a server PC. And automatic SMSs can be set up to run on a workstation. However, this will require that that particular workstation is always on. The Genie server. Your Genie database is stored on the server PC, and this acts as a centralized location for all your workstations. Your Genie server may be on-site or set up as a remote off-site server by your IT technician, where each workstation accesses Genie via an RDP. Usually, to access your RDP session, your IT technician would have set up a desktop shortcut to connect to the server before accessing the Genie application. Running a server both locally or as a remote offsite server usually requires ongoing running costs as your IT technician is managing the server. Your backup protocol should be set up and managed on the server by your IT technician. This may include the Genie database and folder and any other applications and files that your practice uses and accesses. Higher hardware specifications are required for a server compared to that of a workstation PC, as it requires more processing power. We generally recommend that the SMSs are set up to run directly from the server PC because the server will always be running. When running a Genie upgrade, this should be run on the server by your IT technician after a backup has been completed. The next topic we will look at is upgrading Genie. It is important to keep up to date with your Genie versions, as new features and extra security, including compliance to government regulation updates, are introduced into the software. The first step towards upgrading Genie is running a backup, as we discussed earlier, to help you maintain data integrity. Upgrades will require access to the server. It is recommended that when upgrading Genie, this occurs outside of business hours to prevent any disruption to your practice. Your upgrades may be managed by your IT technicians after hours or by one of the Genie support representatives within business hours. After the Genie upgrade is complete, remember to update any fee schedules and assistant thresholds as required. The next topic we will look at is when to contact Magentis. Sometimes you may be unsure whether to contact Magenta support or your IT technicians for assistance. One useful question to ask yourself is whether the issue is Genie related or hardware related. There are multiple ways that you can reach out for support, including via the Genie client, searching the online Genie knowledge base, initiating a Magentis chat, contacting us via the submit a request form, calling support directly during business hours, or contacting your IT technician for general IT support. One of the easiest ways to get help is directly within the Genie application. Depending on which window you have open in Genie, when you go to the File menu in the top left-hand corner and select Help, Genie will open the knowledge base to the topics covering the screen that you're currently viewing. So for example, if we were in the patient's clinical file, when we go to File and then Help, this will open to the clinical area of the knowledge base. Alternatively, if you prefer to browse the knowledge base directly, you can access the knowledge base from the appointment window by clicking on the big Help button found underneath the calendar on the left. If you do not have access to Genie, for example, if you wanted to access the knowledge base from home, you can simply Google Genie Knowledge Base or go to help.magentus.com/Genie. Then you can type your query in the search bar or read some of the popular promoted articles. Alternatively, you can also browse by category found down below. Via the knowledge base, located in the lower right-hand corner is a live chat button. Once clicked, you'll be prompted to enter your details such as first name and last name, contact email, and your practice Genie number. Please note your Genie number is also your Medicare minor ID. Then click on the Start a Chat button down below. The bot will initially ask what you want to do. In this example, select I would like to ask a question. When prompted, type in your question. For example, when does support open? And the bot will suggest 3 knowledge base articles. It will then ask whether these articles were useful. If you respond no, the bot will ask whether you would like to chat to a support agent. Select I would like to chat to a support agent, and the bot will connect you through to one of our experienced agents. Alternatively, if it is not an urgent inquiry, within the knowledge base, click on the Submit a Request link found in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Fill in your request and practice details, and one of our support staff will get in contact with you. Practices are often unsure of when to contact Magentus and when to contact their IT technician. Here are some common situations where it would be more appropriate to directly contact your IT. When you're having issues with certain hardware connecting, such as using your mouse or keyboard, printing to your printer, or whilst trying to scan documents. Depending on whether the device is faulty, some devices may need to be replaced or upgraded, and this can be managed by your IT. If your computer starts to run slowly, there may be issues with network connectivity, or the hardware performance may be impacted by certain processes running in the background. If the Genie client is not opening and you get an error message or your internet stops working, there could be an issue with your network. Your IT technician should be contacted to assist with running, managing, and checking your backups, but also to run the Genie upgrade from the Genie server as well. Our Certified Advisor program is an initiative that connects our customers with our trusted partners in the IT and wider healthcare industry. If you don't have a regular IT technician, feel free to reach out to Magenta Support for more information. The next topic will be a look at what is a local server versus a cloud-hosted server. First off, a local server is hosted within your practice's premises. When running a local server, it requires continual server maintenance, usually managed by your IT technician. We always recommend that you have a contingency plan for when you may not have access to your Genie database. This includes managing a thorough backup protocol that needs to be discussed with your IT technician. Servers normally require a lot of processing power. Therefore, over time, the server may need to be upgraded. Hosting a server locally can also be vulnerable to natural disasters or man-made events such as fires or robberies. Another common server setup is an off-site server that is hosted by your IT company. Similar to the locally hosted server, these require ongoing maintenance and management by your IT technician. The advantage of this setup can include better security for your data, remote access from multiple locations, and not having to invest in a physical server that normally sits in the back room of the practice, requiring cooling and monitoring. Genie can only be set up on a local server or an offsite server hosted by your IT company. However, you may have heard of cloud-hosted databases. Cloud-hosted databases are stored in data warehouses, which are facilities dedicated to storing and managing large amounts of data with high levels of encryption and security, along with extensive backup protocols. Accessing the data normally involves accessing a secure website via a web browser, which can be accessed from multiple devices such as phones, tablets, laptops, and desktop PCs. Because there is no dedicated physical server, there may not be a need to upgrade hardware with high specifications as frequently, and there would be fewer upfront costs and lower ongoing running and maintenance costs. Gen2 is the market-leading cloud-based software currently supporting over 2,500 practices. If you are interested in moving to the cloud, this QR code will take you to a page to learn more about Gen2 and where you can request a demo.